In Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers secured 130 and over 121 victory over the New York Knicks, taking a commanding 3-1 series lead. Tyrese Haliburton delivered a historic performance, recording 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds, and 4 steals in this one without committing a single turnover in 37 minutes of play. There was 4 key takeaways I took from this Game 4. Haliburton had an historic night. He became the first player in NBA playoff history to achieve at least 30 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds with 0 turnovers in a game. The Pacers had elite offensive efficiency. Indiana shot 51.1% from the field and 40.6% from beyond the arc, showcasing their elite offense that leads to all the playoff team metrics that are key to winning. The Knicks had defensive struggles in this. New York Knicks allowed 50 points in the paint and 22 fast break points, with 17 turnovers that led to 20 points for the Pacers. The Knicks had an offensive effort here. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns combined only for 55 points, but their defensive shortcomings have contributed to their team's losses really throughout this series. Looking over to the Game 5, I mean, it's set in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are facing elimination. It can't get any better than this for the Eastern Conference. They'll need to tighten up their defense, reduce the turnovers to extend the series. The Pacers are aiming for their first NBA Finals appearance since 2000. This will, they have to maintain their offensive momentum here, close out the series. And we're just going to look at some of these highlights here. My goodness, look at all these turnovers that are leading to the fast breaks. They want to play in pace. And the Knicks, they've really started off slow here. I feel like if they set their defense up, limit their turnovers, these games are so close, even with the amount of turnovers that they're having and the defensive lapses. It's really hard to hide Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. I think they should start, staggering their minutes a little bit more. Obviously, the game plan hasn't been the best when you really look at their coach, Tom Thibodeau. So he really hasn't staggered them enough, but he started to do that a little bit with, including some more of their bench. But I think they need to do that a little bit more in this game. Also, I noticed they didn't really go all out with their starting 7, or starting 5. And, they didn't really go 7 deep in this one. They went a lot deeper. And I think for an elimination game, they're going to end up having to just play their best 7 guys and just, have the majority of the shots come from Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson if they're really going to carry this win home, because I really don't think there's really any other options for them. I mean, I'm looking at these highlights. OG's got the rock right now going easily in there. Like, OG's another guy that can get a little bit more touches. He's got solid offensive production. But when you have, Tyrese open right there against Cat, I mean, it's just so hard to defend this guy. It's ridiculous. He's got him in a trap right there. Boom, easy layup. They're just getting easier points against the Knicks. The Knicks need to do the same thing, more from an offensive perspective, get easier points. But from defensive perspective, they need to just figure out how they can guard up. I feel like there was a debate, who's the better defender between Cat versus Jalen Brunson, and who would I rather have? Like, if I was a defensive coach, I'd rather have Cat, because at least, he's a bigger body. You can, hide him a lot better in the paint. Jalen Brunson is pretty much impossible to hide. Like, they're absolutely attacking him, and he leads to so many points. He may be averaging 30, but the amount of points he's giving up is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, there has to be a better scheme, similar to what they run with Luka Doncic or, Trey over in Atlanta. Like, they've got to run a scheme where they run a lot more zone when you have Jalen Brunson. Like, look at this. He leads to a turnover, can't defend 3 guys. I would say obviously most people can't defend, a 3-on-1 or anything like that. But right there, he was not serviceable at all. At least, Cat's trying his best on offense. He had one quiet game in this one. Otherwise, he's been solid. He's just got to, continue that and continue to hit his shots. But Jalen Brunson hasn't been that elite offensive shot creator that I expected him to be honest. He just hasn't been that. That was my prediction for this series, that the Knicks would take this in 7 games. I did think this was going to be a lot of close games. And I thought Brunson would just out execute. And honestly, Tyrese Haliburton, as you can see, has out executed throughout the game, and especially in the fourth quarter. And that's really where the difference is. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns going to work with a spin move, fantastic. They cut it close here. This is where in the third and in the fourth, I believe, at a point, they had it down to like a 7-point lead. Maybe we'll see that in the highlights. But when Tyrese is having a night like this, I honestly did not expect him. I expected him to maybe have like one game like this. Now this is kind of his second 30-point game. He shouldn't be allowed to go off for this many points. I thought their defense was a lot better than allowing what they're allowing from him. Big three right there. We're in the fourth quarter. This was where it was crunch time. Like, it was a 10-point game. For a lot of this stretch right here, the Knicks just couldn't convert. They just couldn't convert. Also, Jalen Brunson got into a lot of foul trouble in this situation. Even Karl Anthony Towns picked up a bunch of knick-knack fouls. Josh Hart picked up a bunch that put the Pacers at the line. You cannot have the Pacers at the line early. I don't think you can win games that way, especially in the fourth quarter. Just not happening. You can see the Pacers didn't have any field goals for a while. Like, their only offensive creation was Tyrese for big stretches. Right here, I think Mikal is going to hit this big three. Yep. I think this was his back-to-back threes where he cuts the lead right here. And this is where I was thinking, like, okay, 7-point game, Jalen Brunson, just, Karl Anthony Towns cleans that up. This is as close as they can get right here. And then they're picking on Brunson, man. Leads to an open three. This is what I'm saying. It's not sustainable for your star to give up as many points as he's giving up and to expect to win the game. I just don't think it's realistic. And you can clearly see that that's the reason they lost. Like, Brunson's, look, still being picked on, leads to an easy layup. It's got to be better than that. It's got to be better. I didn't think he was this bad. If he's this bad against them, they would probably get swept by the Thunder. If Tyrese can pick on you like this, Shai Gilgeous would, eat up their defense, to be honest. And so it's going to be looking like a nice Game 5 matchup right here. The big collision with 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. Towns on the ground. Hopefully he's all right. Tough right there, man. Yeah. Looks like more like a contusion than anything. It didn't look too bad. So he should be fine. Yeah. He's back on the court. He's good. Right there, Obi Toppin with a huge three. Dagger, pretty much. That pretty much called it right there. Just, they out-executed these guys on offense and played better on defense, man.